What's going on, New York Giants fans? Hit Squad back at it with another video. And today we have a little bit of a Giant update for you guys. We're going to be talking about Daniel Jones being named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week and what I think that means for Daniel Jones, as well as former captain Nick Gates being activated to the 53-man roster. We're also going to be talking about some injury updates in regards to Evan Neal, Sterling Shepard, Daniel Bellinger. I know those are a little bit older news, but I still want to get my thoughts and opinions out there for you guys. But before we do any of that, I want to encourage you, if you have not already, join the Hit Squad. We're almost at 500 subscribers. Leave a like as well as your thoughts on this video below. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter. The link is in the description box. Now, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, for the third time in his career, was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Now, coming off an impressive win against the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he had little to no help, especially in the passing game, threw for over 200 yards, had a touchdown through the air, a dime to Darius Slayton. He had over 100 yards on the ground, one touchdown through the ground as well. In my honest opinion, I've said it in my last video, if Daniel Jones hasn't proven to you already that he's at least worthy to come back next year under this regime, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what else this kid needs to do to prove to you that he's worthy of at least coming back for another season. He's stacking up wins. He has 5 game-winning drives this season. And mind you, he's knocked off Aaron Rodgers. He's knocked off Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's done an excellent job this season. And for a player that a lot of people in the media are calling a game manager, let me read you some stats here. Daniel Jones' passing yards right now is 1,223 yards. You pair that with 6 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions, really one being his fault, but 2 interceptions. QBR rating of 62.7. He has 343 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, and again, 5 game-winning drives. Now, let's compare those stats to a quarterback that has 2 number 1 wide receivers, the best offensive line in the game, and is currently one of the favorites to win the MVP this season. Jalen Hurts, 1,514 yards, 6 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions, QBR 59.1, 293 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns. Now, you take that for what you will. I'm not saying Daniel Jones should be in the MVP conversation. I'm not saying that at all. But I will say this much. It seems that no matter what this kid does, the goalpost tends to move. You know, before it was, well, he's turning the ball over too much. Hasn't really turned the ball over at all. Okay. Then it becomes, well, can he win these close games? Can he have game-winning drives? Well, he has 5 of them now. I mean, he's knocked off the Tennessee Titans. He's knocked off the Green Bay Packers. He's knocked off Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Like, at some point, I need some fans and I need the media to put some respect on Daniel Jones. And I think that he's slowly starting to get it because people are starting to realize really the truth that I understand that he hasn't been the solution throughout the years, but he hasn't been the main problem. And it's absolutely true that he has not been surrounded with talent. I mean, and even when he has been surrounded with talent, these players can't stay healthy. I mean, he is doing what he can this season with players that aren't catching the ball. He doesn't have a healthy wide receiving core right now. And I mean, he's winning games. And then you have people saying that it's Saquon winning these games. And that's no slight at Saquon. Saquon, I've been saying, is on a MVP type of game right now. But Daniel Jones is really helping the Giants win these games. I mean, he is a factor in why the Giants are winning these games. I honestly do not believe that he's managing these games. I think that yes, there are things that he needs to improve on, but you're seeing him improve week in and week out. He's getting more confident. You know, he's looking like a legitimate NFL quarterback right now. And I am very, very excited to see what this kid could look like if he has a healthy wide receiver core, let alone a nice number 1 wide receiver, and what he could look like growing in this offense under Mike Kafka and Brian Dable, because they are really getting the most out of this kid. He's looking like a stud. I am very, very, very happy for Daniel Jones. And I think a lot of Giants fans should be, because it's been a long time since the Giants have been able to stack up wins in an impressive fashion like we have been. And I think you got to give a lot of credit to Daniel Jones as to why we're winning these games, because he's not costing, the Giants to lose these games. He's not having costly turnovers. I mean, this kid week in and week out is improving, and I'm very, very excited to see what he could look like, given, if we could really build around him. Now, let's move on to Nick Gates. Nick Gates, he will be added to the active roster. This was actually per Jordan Renan. His 21-day window on the pup actually expired today. So, I mean, former captain coming off of 7 surgeries, man, after fracturing his fibula in game 2 last year. I mean, just what a warrior. Really, what a warrior. I mean, most people had him penciled in that he may never play an NFL game again. Now, it's also reported that he has yet to practice in pads. So I do not expect the Giants to roll him out there. I don't expect him, to get starting reps. I think that the smart thing would be to slowly integrate him into playing and slowly integrate him into this offense. And I mean, at worst, he's a nice depth piece. I mean, he provides leadership. I mean, he plays with the grit. We've seen him take on Aaron Donald, which not many people do that, let alone offensive linemen. So, I got to give a lot of credit to Nick Gates. This is, call it a comeback story. I know some people won't, but call it a comeback story. I mean, this is just incredible. You really love to see it. And, I would love to see what this offensive line would look like with Nick Gates on it, because I mean, he wasn't the best offensive lineman that we had when he was healthy, but he was one of our better offensive linemen that we had, which, if we're being honest, really ain't saying much. But at the same time, I mean, we know what he can bring. I think it would be a lot to expect for him to just come in and just start. I don't see that happening. Again, slowly integrate him into this offense, let alone playing again. And I think that, as the season goes on, maybe get him some playing time if a player goes down. But I really want to see Azudu, really get some starting reps. And we'll see what happens with, Ben Bredesen and Evan Neal when they come back, which, let's talk about that. Now, Evan Neal, he suffered a grade 2 MCL sprain. He'll be out for about 2 to 4 weeks. I think it would actually be smart to maybe have him, out until at least we play Dallas. I think that we'll be able to handle our own until then. That's just my personal opinion. I think, the rookie, he's been playing fairly well, especially after that Dallas game. I thought last week and the week prior, he had excellent games. You did not hear his name being called at all. So take your time with him. No need to rush him out there right now, and try to get him as healthy as you can. I think that we'll be able, again, to handle our own as we go down this stretch until we play the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving. So we definitely, don't want to risk further injuries. So get healthy, Evan Neal. We're definitely going to need you down the stretch. Now, Ben Bredesen, who we were just talking about, he suffered a sprained knee. The timetable ain't really out yet, just yet, for how long he'll be out, let alone if at all. I think he may miss a game, maybe 2. We'll see probably this week how it is. But definitely was a scary sight seeing 2 starting offensive linemen go down, where, they're just building chemistry. They're really just clicking, and, they're really just developing chemistry with each other. So definitely don't want to see that. But the good thing is, if you could really say it's a good thing, Evan Neal and Ben Bredesen, they really dodged, serious injuries here that could have been season ending. And, that's really been the story with the New York Giants, right? This MCL sprain, we saw it with Kayvon, we're seeing it with different players. You also saw, I believe, with Leonard. So you're seeing it with different players, and it has really just been just another year full of injuries. To say the least. That's really the story of the New York Giants for as long as I can remember. So you don't want to see it, but we got to have these guys healthy down the stretch. Daniel Bellinger, I mean, we all know, suffered that gruesome eye injury. Dable is saying that's going to require surgery. Now, with Daniel Bellinger missing time, I mean, I think Tanner Hudson or Chris Myrick will definitely get more starting time. They also have Andre Miller. Lawrence Kager, from what I'm seeing here, was signed to the practice squad last week. So, there's definitely some players there that we can rely on. But I do think that missing Daniel Bellinger is going to be huge. I think Daniel Bellinger is one of those players that was slowly emerging, and with him slowly emerging, was going to get more acclimated into this offense. I mean, he's pretty solid in pass blocking, very solid in catching the ball, which, dealing with Evan Ingram the last couple seasons, it's been very refreshing seeing Daniel Bellinger on the field. And I think the Giants are actually going to really miss him in this offense. So, it was a gruesome play, should have been called. It was a face mask. And I always understood why players wore, just cover ups on their eyes, just having shields, because I mean, when these kind of things happen, man, I mean, there's a lot of players that get poked in the eye, but rarely where you're seeing blood coming out of the eye and the eye swelling up and you need surgery. It was just, man, a gruesome play, and you never want to see that for anyone. So we're gonna need Daniel Bellinger to get healthy, and I hope that it's not too serious where he's gonna miss the rest of the season. So definitely don't want to see that. Sterling Shepard, lastly, he seems to he had surgery yesterday via his Instagram story where he posted him in the hospital. Pretty much just looked like he was in good spirits. So Sterling Shepard, I mean, he fights, and that's really something that a lot of fans can attest to. I mean, regardless of whether he returns the next year or not, I think that his toughness, what he brings to the New York Giants team, it's a lot of people, including myself, we see that, and that's something that I really value in a player. And Sterling Shepard, man, I mean, if this is it for him, I'm gonna always root for him. He's been one hell of a player for us. Unfortunately, injuries have just been, the story with him. But one hell of a player, man. One hell of a player. Again, we're going to need some of these guys to come back healthy down the stretch, especially Evan Neal and Ben Bredesen. But let us know your thoughts below. How are you guys feeling about Daniel Jones being named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week? How do you guys think that affects his career going forward or currently? Does that change how you feel towards him? Nick Gates, how are you guys feeling about him being activated from the 53-man roster? Again, I think that's huge. But I really want to hear your guys' thoughts below, and let us know, because, I mean, it's fun to be a Giants fan right now. So let us know your thoughts. We'll see you guys in the next video.